This guy is one of the most famous Madden players on the entire internet. TDBarrett has grown an enormous community who love him for the insane energy and competitiveness that he brings to every single video. But TD isn't just an entertaining player, he practices and studies the game like a madman, and it's helped him become one of the best regs and CFM players in the entire community. Open any of TD's videos and you're guaranteed to see him scoring touchdowns on pretty much every drive and running the score up to absolutely ridiculous numbers. So to understand exactly how his offense became so incredibly lethal, I took a deep dive into one of TD's toughest games and found 4 big secrets that he uses to turn his Patriots playbook offense into one of the most overpowered schemes in Madden 22.
It's a laser! MVP Newman!
On April 28th, 2022, TDBarrett uploaded the video facing the #1 seed to go to the Super Bowl as part of his Seahawks Connected franchise series. The game was against fellow YouTuber TSAP, one of TD's toughest opponents who had already beat him in the regular season matchup. Now against lesser opponents, TD loved to start the game with a gunslinger mindset and immediately start dialing up one-play touchdowns, but he knew that wasn't a smart game plan versus TSAP and chose to come out with a much more conservative approach. TD's first few play calls on offense immediately revealed his big secret #1, which is dominate on the ground. On the first play of the game, TD comes out in one of his favorite run plays, which is halfback zone weak in the formation pistol weak. The play results in a solid 8-yard gain, but you may have noticed that the run goes to the side opposite the fullback, even though the play art shows it going to the same side. In this case, TD took advantage of a game mechanic where you can change the direction of a run by simply flicking the right joystick in the direction you want to go. The majority of Madden players know this, but TD gets the most out of it by breaking out his counting skills before the ball is snapped. He knows that his fullback will be the lead blocker regardless of whether his run goes left or right, so now it's a matter of drawing an imaginary line down the center of the field to determine which side has the blocking advantage. We can see that on the left side, we'll have 3 blockers going up against 4 defenders, while on the right side, we'll have 4 blockers going up against 4 defenders. Obviously, the right side has the blocking advantage, so TD flicks the right joystick to the right and then rumbles ahead for his 8-yard gain. Now, as TD progressed down the field on this first drive, he felt comfortable enough to start passing the ball a bit more, but then he found himself in trouble as TSAP's man coverage started completely bagging every route combo. On 3rd and 7, TD desperately needed to find a way to get someone open, and that's exactly what he did on this spectacular touchdown catch by Michael Thomas to give TD an early 7-0 lead. Now, if you just watched this play one time through, you may have missed exactly how TD was able to get Michael Thomas open for this touchdown, and that leads us to TD's big secret #2, which is use abilities that dominate man coverage. We've all been in situations where it feels like our opponent's man coverage is stuck to us like super glue, and no matter what route we put on the field, we can't get any separation. Now, there are certain routes that can give you the best odds possible for beating man coverage, and I actually spend over 20 minutes breaking those down for members of my website, sprucegoose.gg, but arguably the best of those routes is the Hot Route Master corner route, which is what TD used on this play. However, even with the best man-beating route in the game, TD understands that in Madden 22, there are 2 abilities that you need on your receiver to never have to worry about man coverage again. The first ability is Route Technician, which gives receivers a high success rate when creating separation on the last cut of any route. When we look at this play again, we can actually see Route Technician light up the moment Michael Thomas starts his cut on the corner route, and he comes out of it with just enough separation for TD to fire the ball in there. Now, as Michael Thomas catches the ball, we see him lighting up yet again. This is from TD's other ability, which is Deep Out Elite. Deep Out Elite gives receivers more consistent catching on passes at least 20 yards past the line of scrimmage and outside the numbers, and in this case, Deep Out Elite ensured that Michael Thomas was able to bring down the ball in traffic, and it helped TD secure the first touchdown of the game. Now, moving on to TD's second drive, this is where he really started to get into a groove in the passing game, dialing up dot after dot to move the ball down the field with ease. What I love about these plays are that every single route on the field has a purpose, and when combined, they create excellent spacing for each receiver. This reveals TD's big secret #3, which is build great route combos. Now, this is something that I often talk about in my one-on-one coaching sessions, but great route combos transcend individual plays and playbooks. Once you understand how to put great route combos on the field, you can win Madden games using nearly any formation. Now, on this particular drive, he shows off his deep understanding of route combos by using 2 of the most powerful concepts in all of Madden. The first one is the flood concept, which overloads one side of the field with routes short, medium, and deep, and he does this using any play in the formation gun Y-off trips Pats, also known as U-trips. His adjustments are to put the outside receiver on a streak, put the slot receiver on a hot route master corner route, block his tight end, put his running back on an in route, and put the solo receiver on a hot route master post. TD reads the flood side first and then comes back to the post if necessary, but most of the time, either the corner route or the running back in route will get open, and TD uses this concept multiple times on this drive to march his way down the field. The second great route combo that TD uses is one that is particularly strong in Madden 22, and that's the wheel flat concept. By putting the solo receiver in a flat route on the side of the running back wheel, we can see it pull the zones way outside, and TD is able to laser it into his running back and waltz right into the end zone. Now, jumping ahead in the game, despite a super quick touchdown drive to end the first half, and then recovering a fumble on the 1-yard line and easily punching it in, TD still found himself in a tie game with 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Needing just one more money drive to get into field goal range and secure the playoff win, TD rattled off a pair of solid runs to get to midfield, but that's where things started going wrong. On 2nd and 2, his run got blown up in the backfield for a 3-yard loss, and on 3rd and 5, he threw a heavily contested pass to his running back that fortunately fell incomplete. All of a sudden, TD found himself looking at 4th and 5 and the most important play of his entire season. When TD comes out of the huddle for this crucial play, we initially see him design a high-low concept with his running back and slot receiver, which is a zone coverage killer. But then TD pauses for a moment, goes to his audible menu to call tight end whip, and ends up putting a completely new route combo on the field. So what did he see that caused this sudden shift in thinking? His adjustments on this play revealed TD's big secret number 4, which is learn to read defenses pre-snap. As I explained in my video on reading defenses, seeing the outside cornerback aligned inside of the receiver across from him almost guarantees that your opponent is playing man coverage. TD's initial route combo was great against zone coverage, but TD reads the defense, audibles to tight end whip, and puts a route combo on the field that is perfectly built to destroy man coverage. His adjustments are to put the solo receiver on a flat, put the running back on a wheel, smart route the tight end on the zig, put the slot receiver on a slant, and in this case, TD used Hot Route Master to put a deep post on the outside receiver. This play has 4 man-beating routes, since we know from previous videos that low ball wheel routes destroy man coverage, so at this point, TD is planning to read the wheel route followed by the tight end zig. During all of his adjustments, however, TD spots his opponent make a counter adjustment as all of his cornerbacks shift to the outside. This means his opponent just shaded his man coverage to the outside, and now any outbreaking routes like the tight end zig most likely are no longer viable options. That means the new read progression will be the wheel route, then the slant, and then the deep post. After the snap, it turns out the running back is cross-manned by a linebacker, and TD wisely decides that it's not a risk that's worth taking. The next read is the slant, and at this moment, TD sees that there's a user in the passing lane, and he also knows that if he waits for it to carry to the sideline, there's a safety that might also be able to come down and play it. That leads TD to the final read progression, which is the deep post. The receiver absolutely torches the shaded outside man coverage, and TD presses A to haul in the possession catch and finally secure the game. Now, the only caveat with that deep post is that it did require Hot Route Master, so if you're looking for more setups out of gun Y-off trips Pats or U-trips that don't require any special abilities, then definitely check out my U-trips ebook in under 8 minutes to truly take your passing game to the next level.